For 30 years, I looked successful. The title, the clothes, the I'm doing great answered before anyone even finished asking the question. And underneath all of it, I was broke. Not broke like no money coming in. Money was coming in. I was broke like every dollar had already spoken for by the time that it landed on my account. I was broke like performing a thing that I could not actually afford to be. Now, I came to this country alone, no family here, no safety net, no map. I ranked number 10 in all of Haiti studying by a kerosene lamp. So believe me when I tell you, I know how to perform excellence. What nobody ever taught me was how to keep what the excellence earned. Because looking successful was never vanity, not for a woman like me. It was survival. And the day that I understood that is the day that I finally stopped being ashamed of it. Here's what you have to understand about a woman who came here with nothing. When you have no family to catch you, no name that opened doors for you, no second chance folded in your back pocket, the appearance of being fine, it becomes the only armor that you own. And for some of us, the armor was fitted long before America. Where I come from, you do not announce your struggle. You press the uniform. You show up composed. Dignity was the one asset that nobody could repossess. So we guarded it with everything that we have. And I carry that across the ocean with me. And listen, that armor served me. It really did. But it also cost me quietly for 30 years. And today I'm finally sitting down and adding up what it costs. Because the second they smell struggle on you, the story changes. She cannot handle it. She's not ready. So you learn to never let them smell it. You iron the shirt. You pick up the lunch that you cannot afford. You say, I'm great, with the red dew sitting in your chest. And I want you to picture the scene because I lived it more times than I can count. Somebody asks, how you doing? And before they even finish the question, it is already out of my mouth. I'm doing great, smiling, standing tall. And you know what is happening in my head at that exact moment? Math. Which bill can move? Which checks clear first? How many days until the next deposit? Two women in one body. The one they saw and the one back here doing math. And here's the trap. The armor works very well. It works just well enough to keep you wearing it for 30 years, while it quietly bankrupts the woman that is underneath it. There were three specific ways that I paid for that armor. I'm going to name all three, and the third one is the one that I'm still most ashamed of. The first cost, it was the quietest one because every raise that I ever got, the armor absorbed it before the future me ever saw a cent of it. Bigger title, slightly bigger apartment, a little more, I earned this, and I had earned it. Every upgrade had a true sentence defending it. I work hard, I deserve nice things. And every true sentence, it quietly moved the finish line so that no matter what came in, enough stayed one raise away. So you have heard me say that the biggest raise that I got in decades in corporate America was $1.50. But even the small bumps I spent before they even reached my account. And what did I keep? Nothing stayed. The money moved through my life like a guest who came to your house and never sat down. So now I want you to hear how I fix that. The raise you do not see is the only raise that ever makes you richer. When the next dollar comes, the armor gets none of it first. The future you gets paid before the performance does. And do not make this a willpower thing because willpower gets tired real fast. Make it automatic. The day any new money starts coming in, before you even get used to it, set it up as an automatic transfer, a piece of it straight to your savings on payday, every payday. Because here's the thing, you cannot spend money that never lands in your spending account. That is the whole trick. 10 minutes, it only takes 10 minutes to set up, and it works while you sleep. Now, who taught us that spending like we have arrived is the same as arriving? Sit with that question because somebody profits every single day that we believe it. The second cost, it has a name in this house, the twice as good tax, the wardrobe, the hair, the car in the parking lot, the lunches that you could not say no to, the invisible line item of being seen as unquestionable. Because as a Black woman in those rooms, good enough was never going to be enough. I could not show up fine. I had to show up beyond question. And I paid far beyond question in dollars that I did not have for a seat that I already was sitting in. And let me be fair to that woman, because she was not being foolish. She was reading the room correctly. The judgment, it was real. The double standard was real. So when your competence gets inspected twice as hard, the armor is a rational purchase. And that's what makes this tax so cruel. It is not charged to the vain. It is charged to the aware, the woman who understands exactly what those rooms required and paid it month after month out of a paychecks that had other plans. And the fix to this one took me years to see, because I separated the tools from the costume. The one good jacket that makes you stand taller, that is a tool. Buy the tools. The fifth jacket is a costume. Retire the costume, because nobody at your funeral is going to mention the blazer. Nobody. And here's your homework on this one. And I want you to do it this week. Walk through your own image spending with one question in hand. Does this item make me better at the work, or does it only manage what strangers think of me? Keep every tool, not guilt, and pick one costume expense, just one, and let it go. Because you are not punishing yourself. You are quitting a job that never paid you a single dime. And now the third one, the one that I told you that I'm still most ashamed of. I underpriced my own work badly. And I need to be honest about why. Because the truth is actually less pretty than humility. I was desperate for the money. So I did not sit down and do the math in my hours, because I was too busy thinking I need the money. So fear set the price, and fear always bids low. And once I had taught that client what I would take, there was no correction that I offered later that could undo the lesson, because they had learned my number and I taught it to them. And do you know what a desperate price actually buys you? It buys you more desperation, because now the work is underpaid, so you need more of it. So you say yes to the next thing at the same low number. And then the reel just spins faster, while the account, it sits there flat. So I was not being generous. I was not being humble. I was scared. And the price showed it. And while they were telling me there was no budget for my real rate, they signed a very expensive contract with a stranger who promised them six-figure results with his marketing magic. They signed anyway, and he delivered nothing. And when they came back to me to clean up the mess, that is where I finally said no. And the whole story about that is in another video, link below. But the lesson, it belongs right here. If you do not value yourself, no one will. Because you teach people what you cost, and the silence after you say your real price, that silence is the most expensive thing that you will ever learn to sit through, and also the most profitable. So here's your homework on this one this week. Before anybody even asks, sit down in a calm hour and decide your real number, salary, rate, price, whichever one is yours, because the number, it has to exist before the moment needs it. And then let me show you how the moment actually goes, because it is a physical thing. You say the number, the real one, and then you close your mouth. Now, the other person is going to let it get quiet. They know the quiet makes you nervous. Your whole body is going to want to jump in with a discount. Do not do it. Count in your head if you have to. Because the first time I did this, my heart was pounding, my hands were shaking, like I had stolen something. I had not stolen anything. I had just stopped giving it away. And if any of what I just said is landing a little too close, I made you something, and it is called the budget that does not feel like poverty. It is a map that I wish that I had before I spent 30 years performing, and it is free. It is in this description. Go grab it. Then come right back, because I still owe you the real diagnosis underneath all three of these. So the lifestyle that ate every raise, the tax on looking unquestionable, the underpricing that fear negotiated for me. Those are three ways that I looked fine and I stayed broke. But there's also the diagnosis underneath all three, because I was never bad with money. I was performing as a woman who did not need to be careful, because being careful, it looked like struggling. And struggling was not safe for a woman with no one to catch her. The looking successful, it was never the problem. It was the symptom to the problem. And the problem was that I did not believe that I was allowed to just be okay out loud without the costume. And remember the question that I had asked you at the beginning to sit with? Who profits when a woman believes that spending like she has arrived is the same as arriving? Let me answer it now. The stores selling the costume profit, the credit card carrying the costume profits, the whole image economy that keeps score in things profits, and the rooms that take twice as good work while she paid her own way to look worthy of them, they profited most of all. The armor, it was never free because somebody was collecting on it the entire time. And starting today, the collection stops. And maybe that is you too. Maybe your version of the armor is different. The picked up check, the gift that you could not afford but could not give, the I am fine that has been running so long that you cannot remember switching it on. I am not asking you to confess to it to anybody. I am only asking you to notice it, because you cannot retire a costume that you refuse to admit that you are wearing. And let me tell you what being okay quietly actually looks like, because nobody ever showed me. It looks like a smaller apartment with a bigger cushion. It looks like saying, that is not my budget this month, out loud to a real person and watching the world not end. It looks like a woman whose bank account finally matches how she carries herself. Maybe less impressive to strangers, but it's solid at home, where it actually matters, where it actually counts. And I know which one I am starving for. And if you've been wearing the same armor, I want you to subscribe and stay with me, because this whole channel is a woman taking the costume off in public at 51 years old, piece by piece, and finding out that she was enough underneath all of it the whole time. And so are you. Now, I told you I looked successful for 30 years while the truth stayed hidden. So let me tell you what changed at 50 years old. I stopped paying the entrance fee to rooms that only wanted the costume and let the numbers exist out loud on my invoices, on my plans, in videos like this one. And the strangest thing happened. The people who only liked the armor, they left. And the one who stayed, they stayed for me, which was the first time in my whole life that the applause was actually free. You do not have to look successful anymore, my friend. At 50, you finally get to be it, quietly, honestly, with the money still in the bank account. And that is not starting over, that is a second birth. All right, if we have not met, I'm Webley. I'm 51 years old, taking the armor off out loud on this channel every single day. So now I want you to tell me in the comments, what is one way that you have been performing fine that you are ready to put down? I want you to just name it. No shame at this table. And I read every single one of your comments, and I will meet you back here tomorrow.